Okay, so picture the Olympics, just for a second. You're probably thinking about, the roar of the crowd, the flags, the podiums, the absolute peak of human achievement.
Right. You're picturing the glory, the gold medals.
Exactly. You're seeing Simone Biles or Michael Phelps. But I was going through the source material we pulled for this deep dive, specifically these really dense technical handbooks from the sports federations. And I realized something pretty wild. Standing between an athlete and that gold medal isn't just their opponent or the clock. Sometimes. It's a toenail clipper.
It sounds completely absurd when you put it like that, but you're not wrong.
So that's what we're doing today. We're looking past the world records and the highlight reels to get into the invisible architecture of the games. We are talking about the rules.
And not the obvious ones.
No, not stay in your lane or don't use steroids. I'm talking about the weird, the obscure, and the just. Oddly specific bureaucratic hurdles that these athletes have to clear.
And we should probably clarify for everyone listening, these aren't urban legends or just like quirks of the system.
Right.
These are fully enforceable regulations from the international sports federations, the IFs. They can and will disqualify you for things that seem to have nothing to do with your sport.
That is the whole mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
We've combed through the rule books and found 10 specific Olympic rules that just sound fake but are 100% real. We're going to get into everything from mandatory pedicures to forbidden fashion.
And for you listening, whether you're a huge sports trivia fan or you just appreciate weird bureaucracy, this will absolutely change how you watch the next games.
You won't just be watching the race. You'll be looking for tucked-in shirts and hidden handkerchiefs.
Exactly.
So let's start with that. I mentioned toenails, and I was not joking. Let's start with what I'm calling the hygiene and grooming police. First up, water polo.
Yes. If you're an Olympic water polo player, you cannot skip pedicure day. It's mandatory.
I mean, the rule literally says players are required to clip their toenails before they can compete. It feels like something a parent tells a toddler.
Yeah.
Not an elite athlete.
It does sound a little trivial, but if you think about what water polo actually is, it makes perfect sense.
Oh, it's brutal.
It's basically wrestling in a swimming pool. There is so much contact happening underwater that the cameras just don't see. It's a total scrum down there, kicking, grappling.
Lots of legs just churning everywhere.
Exactly. And so the rule is purely about safety. It's to prevent underwater injuries. A long or jagged toenail in that environment it's like a little knife.
Right.
Matches have been stopped because players got these deep scratches, these lacerations on their legs or torsos. So the ref basically becomes a hygiene inspector.
I just have this image of a coach giving this intense pregame speech, and then everyone has to line up for a nail clipper check.
That's literally what happens. Officials inspect hands and feet. If your nails are too long, you are not getting in that water.
But it's not just water polo that's obsessed with cleanliness. Let's talk karate. I was reading the World Karate Federation statutes, and they have a rule that feels even more subjective.
This one's really interesting. For women's karate, there's a specific guideline about hair. Competitors have to wash their hair before a bout.
And it's not just a friendly suggestion like, hey, look good for TV.
Nope, it's a rule. And if the judges decide that an athlete's hair isn't sufficiently clean, they can actually penalize them.
Wow. So you could train for years, fly across the world, and then lose points because you used the wrong conditioner.
Well, again, there's a why behind it. It comes down to health risks. Karate is a close contact sport. You have clinching, grappling.
Sure.
So the rule is there to minimize the risk of infection. Things like ringworm or staph. It turns hygiene into a matter of biosafety.
Biosafety. That really takes the romance out of martial arts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And while we're on hair, we have to mention boxing.
Right. Olympic boxers are instructed to remove all facial hair before a match.
No beards in the ring. Which is weird because in professional boxing, you see beards all the time.
All the time. But the Olympics holds on to this stricter, almost amateur-era standard. And there's a technical reason. It's about seeing cuts clearly.
Oh, okay.
If a boxer gets cut, the ringside doctor needs to see the wound immediately to judge how bad it is. A beard can hide that. And there's also the issue of rug burn.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, the texture of a beard can cause abrasions on an opponent's face in a clinch, so smooth faces only.
It really is a game of inches or millimeters of hair. Okay, let's pivot from hygiene to style. because the Olympics is also a fashion show in a way.
Absolutely. And this is where tradition can really crash into modern expression. A great example is gymnastics.
Oh, yeah. You see these gymnasts, they have these incredible sparkling leotards, glittery makeup. It's a whole performance. But then you get to their hands.
And that is where the line is drawn. The rule book explicitly bans bright nail polish.
What's the wording?
The wording is that it attracts attention.
Attracts attention. In a sport where you are literally doing a double backflip in a spotlight wearing sequins, the entire point is to attract attention.
It is a bit of a contradiction, but the rule is clear. Only neutral or clear polish is allowed. The judge's argument is that the hands are like functional instruments. They need to see the line of the fingers, the technique, without being distracted by neon pink.
So if your manicure matches your leotard, you're in trouble.
You are. We've heard stories of gymnasts frantically scrubbing polish off backstage because a judge flagged it. The focus has to be on the execution, not the accessories.
That feels so arbitrary. But speaking of arbitrary dress codes, let's go to BMX.
Now, this is a fantastic contrast. BMX racing is an extreme sport. It's fast, it's gritty, it's dangerous.
Totally. It's like the punk rock of the Olympics. You picture baggy clothes, dirt flying, but there's a rule that feels like it's from a prep school handbook.
The tucked-in shirt rule.
I could not believe this when I read it.
It's true. BMX racers have to compete with their shirts tucked in. And the stakes are huge. You could get penalized or even lose a shot at a medal for this.
To lose a gold medal because your jersey came untucked on the last corner. That's just wild.
The official reason is usually safety, so loose clothing doesn't get snagged on handlebars or another rider. But a lot of riders feel it's just the governing body trying to, I don't know, clean up the sport's image, make it look more disciplined.
It's always those little details. Okay, let's move from how athletes look to how they sound. Or how they're not allowed to sound.
Ah, you must be talking about the equestrian events. Dressage, specifically.
Yes. Now, I get being quiet so you don't spook the horse, but this rule goes way, way beyond that.
It really does. Equestrians are forbidden, strictly forbidden from speaking or making any vocal noise during their routine. Even the quietest sound is grounds for a penalty.
And there's that famous story, right, from the 1932 Olympics.
Yes, it's the classic case study. A Swedish competitor, Bertil Sandström. He was having a great run, probably in line for a silver medal, but the judges said they heard him make a clicking sound with his tongue.
Which is an artificial aid, a huge no-no.
Exactly. You're only supposed to use your seat and your legs. But here's the twist. Sandström swore it wasn't him. He claimed the noise came from a saddle, a squeaky piece of leather.
No way.
Yes. He argued it was equipment noise, not a vocal command. The judges didn't buy it. They ranked him last.
Last place.
Yeah.
Because of a squeaky saddle. That's brutal.
It just shows the insane level of scrutiny they're under. Perfection isn't just about the moves. It's about total control over your equipment, your body, your entire environment. A squeak can ruin everything.
What a nightmare. Speaking of equipment, let's talk about something grittier. From squeaky saddles to blood rags.
Ah, yes. Welcome to wrestling.
This sounds like something out of a movie, the blood rag. But it's a mandatory piece of equipment.
It is. Every wrestler has to have a handkerchief tucked into their singlet to compete. And just to be clear, it is not for a runny nose.
No, tell them what it's really for.
It is strictly to wipe up blood during the match. The sport is so physical, heads clash, skin breaks. Bleeding is almost a given, so the rules say you have to bring your own cleanup cloth so you don't have to stop the match for long.
That is just so intense. Welcome to the Olympics. Here's your uniform, and don't forget your rag to wipe up your own blood.
It really puts the other rules in perspective, right? In gymnastics, you're worried about nail polish distracting a judge. In wrestling, you're bringing a cloth to manage biohazards so you can keep fighting.
Totally. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting for me. We've done what you wear, what you carry. What about where you can stand? There is a rule in fencing that is basically a psychological torture test.
You're talking about the stay put rule. This is one of the most dramatic regulations in any sport.
So walk us through it. In most sports, if you argue a call, you go to the sideline, grab some water while they sort it out.
It's not in fencing. If you challenge a decision, the regulations state you must remain on the field of play, the piste. If you step off, you automatically forfeit your appeal.
You cannot leave. Even if it takes a really long time.
Doesn't matter how long. And we saw this play out in the most heartbreaking way in London, 2012. The South Korean fencer Shin Alam.
Oh, I remember the images from this. It was devastating to watch.
It really was. She was contesting a ruling about the final second of the match. And because of the rule, she had to stay on the piste while the officials deliberated.
And it wasn't a quick review.
Not at all. She just sat there for almost an hour, crying, waiting, physically trapped on the stage because if she stepped off, she accepted defeat.
Just stuck there under the arena lights?
Yeah. It's just haunting. It adds this whole layer of psychological pressure. It's not just physical endurance, it's the mental endurance to just sit there and follow protocol at your absolute lowest moment.
Wow. That's a tough one. Okay, let's shift gears to something that feels a bit dated, maybe? We have to talk figure skating.
Figure skating is a sport that's just so deeply rooted in tradition, and the rules really reflect that, especially around gender.
Right. So, looking at the handbook, if I'm a male skater, what do I wear?
You have to wear trousers. Tights are allowed, but they must give the appearance of trousers.
And if I'm a female skater?
You have to wear a skirt. Until very recently, the rule was interpreted that way. It demanded a modest and dignified costume, which always meant a skirt.
And that's a hard rule, with deductions.
Oh, yes. If a female skater comes out in pants, actual trousers, she risks a deduction for a costume violation.
In this day and age, that's wild. We see women in everything from tracksuits to ski suits, but on the ice, a skirt is basically mandatory.
It really speaks to the artistic heritage of the sport. They're trying to hold on to this very classic, almost balletic aesthetic.
But the rules aren't just about clothes. They also control the actual physics of what you can do. There's a move that's banned, and that's the one everyone wants to see. The backflip.
The forbidden backflip. This is a fascinating one.
So why? Is it just too dangerous?
Safety is part of it, sure. But the real technical reason is about how skating is scored. Skaters get points for jumps. And by definition in the rulebook, a legal jump has to land on 1 foot.
Yep.
A standard backflip lands on 2 feet. So in the judge's eyes, it's not a jump. It's just an illegal acrobatic element. It doesn't fit their definition of skating.
But rules are made to be broken. Or at least hacked. We have to talk about Surya Bonali.
Surya Bonali, Nagano, 1998. This is just legendary.
So she knows she's not going to win gold, right? She's injured. The judging hasn't been in her favor.
Exactly. She felt the judges never fully appreciated her more athletic style. So in her final skate, knowing she had nothing to lose, she does the unthinkable. She performs a backflip.
The crowd must have gone insane.
She did, but here's the brilliant part. She didn't just do a backflip. She stuck the landing on 1 blade.
On 1 foot?
1 foot. She technically exploited a loophole in their own rule. She basically said to the judges, I read your book and I beat you at your own game.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So, did they count it?
Well, no. They still penalized her. They said backflips were banned no matter the landing. But it didn't matter. She became the only skater in history to land one on a single blade in the Olympics. She got a legacy that's bigger than any medal.
I love that. You say I can't land on 2 feet. Fine, I'll use 1. That is the ultimate flex.
It really is. It's the athlete telling the rule book, I'm bigger than you are.
Okay, we're coming down the home stretch. We've done hygiene, clothes, equipment. Let's talk behavior. 2 things, hanging on the rim and alcohol.
A classic pairing.
Let's start with basketball. We all love a good dunk.
Of course. And in the Olympics, dunking is great. But the International Federation, FIBA, is very strict about what happens right after the dunk.
The hoop hang.
Exactly. If a player hangs on the rim after a dunk, it's an immediate technical foul.
That's similar to the NBA, but they call it even tighter.
Much tighter. It's seen as unsportsmanlike conduct. Unless you're doing it to avoid landing on another player, any kind of showboating on the rim is a quick way to give the other team a free throw.
Right. Keep your feet on the ground. Now, the big one. The Olympics is this massive global party. Thousands of young people in peak shape, all in one village. Can they actually party? Can they drink?
This question comes up every single games. And the answer is surprisingly complicated.
Okay, so what does the IOC, the main body, say?
The International Olympic Committee says yes. There is no blanket ban on alcohol. It's not a banned substance. Athletes can have it.
So, party on.
Not so fast. While the IOC allows it, the individual nations, their national Olympic committees, they enforce their own rules, and those can be way stricter.
So your team can say no even if the organization says yes.
Precisely. Take Team USA, for example. They are historically prohibited from drinking inside the Olympic Village. For them, it's a dry campus.
Oh, wow. So if you win a gold medal, you can't even pop a bottle of champagne in your room.
Technically, no. But they are allowed to drink outside the village, so if they go to a restaurant in the host city, that's fine. They just can't bring the party back home.
That feels like such a college dorm rule. Do what you want, just not here.
It's all about focus and maintaining a professional environment. But it creates this weird patchwork where, one country's athletes are having wine with dinner in the dining hall, while another team is strictly on water.
It just shows the Olympics isn't one single event. It's hundreds of different cultures and rule books all crashing into each other.
That is the perfect way to describe it. It's a bureaucratic melting pot.
So let's recap. We've got water polo pedicures, mandatory hair washing, silent saddles, neutral nails, tucked-in shirts, blood rags, and wrestling.
Don't forget the heartbreaking stay-put rule in fencing and the legendary forbidden backflip.
So what does all this mean? Why should we care about all these little details?
I think it just reminds us that sports, even at this elite level, are human constructs. We think of the Olympics as this pure test of physical limits, but it's not. It's a game, and all games have rules.
And sometimes those rules seem to struggle to keep up with what the athletes can actually do.
Exactly. And the rules shape the drama. The fear of an untucked shirt adds tension. The absolute silence of the equestrian arena just amplifies the pressure. They create the texture of the games.
I like that. So for you listening, next time you're watching the Olympics, don't just watch the finish line. Look for the details. Check the fingernails. Watch to see if that wrestler has a handkerchief tucked in their singlet.
Because that's where the real story is often hiding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I want to leave you with one last thought to think about. We've talked about safety and we've talked about tradition. But where do you draw the line?
That's the billion-dollar question.
Do these strict regulations, like banning backflips or mandating skirts, do they preserve the purity of a sport? Or do they actually stifle progress? Was Surya Bonali wrong for breaking the rule? Or was the rule wrong for holding her back?
It really makes you wonder if the rule book should evolve as fast as the human body does.
Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us.
A pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next one. Stay curious.